This is a formal invitation to the retirement fund industry to join us for a 3-month program, which is called the Recognition of Prior Learning Program, that will give you a professional qualification in trusteeship. I will now show you the 9 outcomes you need to achieve to enable you to qualify as a professional trustee. The Recognition of Prior Learning Program can be divided into 9 questions. The first question deals with the fund's orientation program. So you must write down for 150 words and describe your fund's orientation or induction training program for trustees to understand their fiduciary duties. So the first outcome we can say is then induction program. It needs to be discussed. The second outcome deals with the code of conduct. So discuss your fund's code of conduct. That is your second outcome or second question. If we like to look at the third question says evaluate or describe the evaluation process of your board and discuss 4 key outcomes of that performance appraisal. So it deals with the performance appraisal of the board. Question 4 deals with the nomination process. So it deals with the election process of a board. So you need to describe your fund's election process. So it deals with trustee elections. Question 5 says that you've participated in the evaluation process of service providers and you need to evaluate your service level agreement of any of your service providers and discuss this by sufficiently address people, process, pricing and performance. So question 5 deals with service level agreement and service providers. Question 6. In question 6, the requirement is that you need to read and understand your latest set of financial statements and that you are able to discuss by means of questioning the auditor on the latest annual financial statements. So question 6 deals with your annual financial statements. We go into question 7, deals with your investment policy statement. So it says provide a summary of your investment policy statement or IPS. Question 8 says explain what processes your fund follows when there was a breach in investment limits, i.e. the investment limits under regulation 28. So number 8 deals with breach of regulation 28 and how your fund will deal with that. And the last question for you to complete your recognition of prior learning says discuss a latest investment feedback report from your asset manager or investment manager and discuss what impact that will have economically, both local and international. So that is your last question. So you need to discuss investment feedback. So after you've completed all your questions, we need some supporting evidence. So examples of supporting evidence for question 1 will be attendance registers of training completed. Question 2 will be a signed code of conduct. Code of conduct that you need to submit along with question 2. Question 3, we require evidence that you've attended at least 4 board meetings. So evidence of BOT meetings, which could be an agenda pack or minutes of meetings. We require an extract of the rules of the fund where it pertains to the election process. Question 5, copy of the report from the fund's internal audit on compliance, that you have looked at all the relevant policies throughout your year of being a trustee. So question 5 will be an audit on all your policies. Question 6 is minutes of meetings that you attended, where you discussed the annual financial statements or where it was approved, that you participated in that. Question 7 is copy of minutes of a meeting of the IPS where you decided upon matters of investments in your fund. Question 8 will be copies of non-compliance or compliant records of your fund's investments. Under question 8, we require copies of non-compliance or compliance reports that pertains to Regulation 28. Or compliance reports when it pertaining to Regulation 28. And the last question is we need your notes where you looked at investment report back of the fund's investment managers. So it could be a copy of an article which you studied or notes that you made subsequent to the investment feedback from your asset managers. Investment feedback. So that could give you a good idea of the recognition of prior learning requirements, the questions that you need to answer, and the evidence that we need in support of that to enable you to qualify as a professional trustee.